We're up. We're doing it.
Oh.
You think it's going to get chilly?
I thought it was, yeah.
It's probably starting to.
This is the first time I've been out of the house in so many days.
That's
Really?
how you end up getting me?
How many days?
So many days.
Well, you came outside your house that day I came over.
I
for
did,
about
yeah.
3 seconds.
Yeah, you were trying
And
to
then
talk, and I was like,
Shields
He
himself.
didn't want to stay out there. I could
no,
tell.
it was cloudy.
He was
so
like,
it was
please
good.
let me go back inside right now. He was,
Yeah, you wanted to talk. You wanted to yap.
He's just like constantly just kind of with his back
He
towards
was-
you. Oh, yeah?
he was walking himself back to the house as I was talking to him. I was
Hey,
like, all right, well,
catch! And just throw them at you.
It's gonna rain.
Maybe he's in the middle of something. Some chores. Dishes, maybe.
wasn't.
No, I wasn't doing anything.
Whoa, weird. Just kidding about that.
What?
Nothing. It's fine.
Oh, God.
We're all fine.
What'd you just do?
We're all panicking now, so just say it.
Oh, no.
You guys ready?
Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
That felt like you are.
No,
Are we
no.
live?
We are, yeah.
Okay.
Should pull up that thing if you want, but you don't have to.
I thought you were. I can.
I tried. And that's what happened.
Oh. Well,
Oh, was it
just,
pumping back there?
Just mute it. Can you not turn
I
your
don't have that
sound
button.
off?
I hope people are watching on YouTube for this one.
All right, I will.
People missing term papers for me. Just making mistakes.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's Thunderheads with Brandon Soul, Rob Larson, Justin Wright, and the dark and stormy Jason Lewis.
Sitting here in the middle of Midtown, Oklahoma City, surrounded by some of the best Thunder gear, shirts that you are going to find. Not some of the best, probably the best,
I'd say the best.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
We're doing this podcast on this table that it is a replica of, maybe not the current Thunder Court, okay? You know, like, they're not going to
But
update it every year, guys.
Thunder Court.
It's pretty awesome. It's a ping pong table that is made out, if you're not watching on YouTube, it is or Twitch, it is a ping pong table that is made out to be the Thunder's court. Really, really cool. We're at Opulus Clothing, 1111 North Hudson Avenue. Really cool that they're having us out. And real quick, before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to Toby Webb on Twitter, who put out an incredible video to hype everyone up for the Thunder season. He tagged us in it, which thank God he did, because maybe we don't see it.
Yeah.
And he's from the UK, I guess, and he wanted to just say he was very
He was
excited.
real jazzed up, and I loved it.
Yeah, full of chants, full of rah-rah, just hyping everyone up, enthusiasm, a lot of body paint, and a lot of body hair. A lot of body hair. Awesome. But it was an awesome video, and go watch it if you haven't. Toby Webb on Twitter. That was really cool. Thanks for sharing that with us. We are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch and Periscope. So you can watch all these podcasts. If you're not watching, that's okay. Just know that you can watch these on those platforms. We're trying this Twitch thing going forward.
I mean, if you're not, like, what are you doing?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What could you be doing that is making?
How is it more important than that?
Right. So go subscribe on all of those services. You can probably click a notification button. It'll let you know when we go live on each one of them, and that helps out too, so you don't miss anything. Also, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you find your podcasts, we're there, man. Just go ahead and subscribe. Give us a rating. Helps us out a lot. And, of course, OKCThunderheads.com for all the goods. Now, boys, time to get to the stuff. We're into it. Game 1 down. Maybe it didn't go quite, in the perfect way. No one expected a win. Thunder lose 108-100. No Russell Westbrook. A last-minute game-time decision. Steven Adams, who ends up playing. Dennis Schroeder, a new starting point guard that you don't really expect, thrown into the fire. Ring night in Golden State.
Ugh.
Thunder put up a good fight. It wasn't pretty the entire game, but they hung around. Now let's dig into it. I need to know what you guys learned. What did you take away from this game? What did maybe you learn that you didn't expect to learn, or what are you taking from it and going forward with?
Well, some of the good things that I saw, obviously, like you said, shorthanded. The Thunder were in it at the end, which, being a 13.5-point underdog before the game started, was I don't know, just not something I really expected to see. It is opening night, so maybe they were both a little rusty. But, it's good to see them actually not get blown out without Russ. Like, that's what you want, is just stay competitive even without Russ.
And for a while, it kind of felt like it was.
Yeah.
I think they were down 14 in the second quarter. Kind of felt they were on the verge of losing it. No offense. I mean, in the first half, the offense was rough, man, and they just couldn't get a shot to fall. So it was, it's impressive to come back in the second half and make something happen in the third quarter.
They were actually the middle quarters were their best quarters. They outscored the Warriors in those quarters. So yeah, that's good because last year obviously they struggled coming out of half. And so to see them actually win the third quarter against a team that dominates third quarters typically is really good.
Anyone got anything else?
Yeah,
Is that it? We ended?
Yep, that's it. That's all we got.
We're good? Yeah. I think just watching Dennis Schroeder go out and have a really solid game was super encouraging to me. Having to be just thrown in the fire as the starter. It obviously gives me a lot of hope for once Russ comes back. The days of Russ going and sitting on the bench and then us just being lost are kind of out the window.
Right.
I hope.
I think that's. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I just think it's really encouraging, and it was nice to I think the whole team struggled at first, and both games last night, the very starts of them were pretty bad, except for Golden State. Like, they were fine just because it's pretty much their same team, so they don't care.
Schroeder didn't start the game well. Defensively or offensively. Those first 5 minutes, Curry was getting away from him, knocked down a couple threes, got going early. Schroeder was not aggressive. He almost looked, I thought, too much for Paul George immediately.
Right.
And offense was like, here you go, which I'd like to see him run a little more creative action to get the ball to Paul George instead of just getting it to him at the top and being like, go to work, Paul. Like, sometimes that's okay, but it felt like they were going to that immediately instead of kind of
working into it and getting a little comfy first.
But then Schroeder got a little comfortable, started getting aggressive, and started making plays, and he kind of helped Paul George in that third quarter. They just kind of worked off of one another and really brought the team back, ended up taking the lead. So I'm with you. That was an impressive, gutsy performance by Schroeder. I think he showed us what he's capable of defensively. I don't think he's going to be some shutdown defender, but man, there's a lot of effort there.
The effort was there, and that's. I mean, when we talked to Jeff Siegel, that was kind of something he kind of talked about a little bit. Was the last year or so really hasn't been there, and Schroeder even mentioned that at media day. I'm gonna get back to where I was, and I feel like he's showing that at least the effort is there, and that's really what you want.
Because that's what got him on the court in Atlanta. Was first off, he played really good defense, and then once he got in, it was more offensive.
Right.
That's sort of what kept him there. So it is. I mean, I think he will get back to that, and it's going to be so much easier whenever you're not guarding Steph Curry.
It is, but I wonder if that makes it harder to put in the effort.
I don't think so, because the reason why is Russ. For one, like if he continues, like if Russ is out there giving that effort, it's going to be super easy for Schroeder to do the same.
Well, Russ is definitely going to give you that effort offensively. I mean, Russ has a responsibility this year too to give that same effort on the defensive end, because
that's a great point.
Hey, no Robertson, man. Like, you saw what happened to this team when Robertson went down last year defensively.
Yeah, you can't do that same relaxing thing and just kind of letting people fly by you, because there's nobody there that's going to help out as much as he would.
Everyone's
he's
got
to swiping away the mistakes.
Right. Everyone's got to pick up the slack here. And I think my point about Schroeder, maybe when it is time for him to move back to the bench, if defensively he's going to if he's able to dominate the game offensively, sometimes, much like Russ does on a night in and night out basis, sometimes you have a tendency to just kind of slack off a little bit defensively because you're saving your energy for the offensive end. However, this bench looks pretty strong. And so hopefully he doesn't, the workload isn't gigantic on Schroeder, and so he is able to still play at both ends.
That would be really nice. So one thing that you guys kind of started to touch on was the defense. That's something that I think is going to translate immediately. The offense, you can kind of work out the kinks throughout the season. You've got new parts. You've got new moving pieces. That'll come. The defense looked there were some breakdowns. Granted, it's Golden State. They're going to break you down regardless of how good you are. That's just what they're going to do. But I like their activity in the passing lanes. I like the way they were super active hands. They were deflecting a lot of passes. They forced 20 turnovers for Golden State, which they're a team that turns the ball over quite a bit anyways, just because of how they move the ball. But to force them into 20, and a lot of them live ball, you're getting good chances off of those. Didn't push the ball quite as much as I'd like to, but I liked what I saw on that end. And then the athleticism
Right.
which really plays into the defense, is absolutely unreal. I think we all kind of knew that going into it, but to actually see it for the first time, see it live in a real game that actually mattered, and just see how much these guys can get up and run, do whatever they want to physically and athletically. It's going to be really, really awesome when they can all put all these pieces together and make something really special.
Billy Donovan's going to have a lot of options
Yeah.
as far as athletic defensive lineups go. I mean, last night, if you look at the substitution pattern, he didn't tinker last night. You know, it always feels like Donovan's tinkering. There was no tinkering last night. He went in with a game plan, and he stuck to that game plan. The substitutions were very clean cut. First half to second half, they were the same. The only thing that changed was Jeremy Grant stayed on the floor to close the game until the very, very end where Patterson comes in. Everything else, the substitution pattern was the exact same. So it was clear that Donovan goes in with a game plan. A lot of people are, there's already people on Twitter blaming Donovan,
Right.
just like, well, I can't. Okay.
It's like, come on, man.
That's fine. You can blame his game plan. That's fine. It's one game, but I guess you can respect the fact that, hey, he had a game plan, he went and he stuck to the game plan and said, we're going to see how this works out. We're going to see how it plays out. I don't want to see where this game plan gets me.
Yeah, but so I think there's two parts to that. So whenever I was trying to decide what went wrong in that game, I did do 50% towards just playing the Warriors on opening night and
the Warriors.
Probably not going to work out very well.
I mean,
in
that's
your
just
favor.
tough. So
And then it's also the Warriors.
Also,
that's half of it. And then also I did 20% injuries because
I thought the other 20% was also going to
no
be
Russ,
the Warriors.
no Robertson, and so that just makes it obviously it's even more difficult. But I did give coming away from there, I did think Billy Donovan deserved about 30% of the blame because they were in it at the end, and I felt like he didn't make the necessary changes to sort of help them and put them over the top. Maybe it wouldn't have mattered, but it was clear at the end of the game, Jeremy Grant was struggling. He was struggling on defense. He wasn't blocking out.
It was the boxing out thing that I noticed the most, where people were just flying in and putting the ball back up. It was no one was kind of staying on their guy.
Well,
Kevin Looney and Damian Jones shouldn't combine for 22 points to kill you like that.
For sure.
That's the weird part.
Yeah, Rob, kind of to your point, he didn't make the match, especially down low. They're out rebounded. They're letting those two guys 22 isn't going off for two guys, but at the same time, that's 22 points from guys that aren't named Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry or Klay Thompson. You can't allow that to happen.
Yeah, if you're gonna get beat, you need to have those guys beat you, not on those cheap points like that.
Yeah,
especially when that's supposed to be one of the strengths of your team. So I agree.
And maybe if your thought process was oh well, Jeremy's gonna have an advantage on the other end. It's not like he was killing it over there, anyways. So I do see where that's kind of.
Speaking of that, 4 threes, over half of Jeremy Grant's field goal attempts were 3-pointers.
Be real neat if he could made
one of them. All of them were good looks.
Yeah, they were.
But when he has good looks, is it almost well, you should just that means you have space, so you should just go to the basket because you're very good at doing that. I don't know if that's kind of getting us off on a road that we're not intending to go down. But
I think that's a really good point you brought up last night. It was if he could hit a better percentage of his opens, he's gonna have so many open threes. Just you could see Paul will go kind of run around in front of him, and then his guy's gonna tag on.
Yep, and the same thing's gonna happen with Russ.
Yeah,
same thing's gonna happen with Shooter.
Yeah, and so he could just sit out there and get open buckets. But if he's not making them, it doesn't really help us.
He needs to make them.
Yeah,
at least
just make the shot.
But back
it's
to back to Rob's point about putting some of the blame on Billy. I totally get that because you brought up last night, Rob. He had an opportunity to throw both
especially in that second half, and they were struggling all game to rebound. And so my whole thing was, why not just try it? Why not give it a try at that point? And then